Howdy. I'm Kat, the founder of Defy Ventures, where we transform hustle from illegal into legal every day with the idea that many drug dealers and gang leaders have a lot in common with successful business folks like you. And we do that by providing an MBA-like training program and Shark Tank-style pitch competitions to people in prison. And we pair that with a lot of character development so that we help people to defy the odds and make sure that they are winning every single day. What if you were only known for the worst thing that you've ever done? Think about that for a second. That's what we work with. I'd like to start by reading the story of Justin, who's the guy holding the I Love Defy sign right there, to give you an idea of the backstories that we work with. Justin wrote, "I'm a product of a conjugal visit. My mom met my dad in prison, married him, and got pregnant with me all while he was in prison. Within 1 year of his release, my dad went back to a life of drugs and crime. One night, in a jealous, drug-fueled rage, he beat my mom almost to death. It all started with her holding me in her arms. She left the next day and would then try to raise a man by herself. She did her best to provide a good life for me, working 2 jobs as a waitress. This left me to be raised by the streets. My first incarceration was at 11 years old. I beat up a 13-year-old kid and was taken to juvenile hall. This was the beginning of group homes and boot camps and other ways the system took me away from the only love I ever knew, my mother's love. So I grew up in the system, angry and bitter toward everyone and everything. Some people say that we're in the second chance business. You decide if it's second chance or a legitimate first chance. In our country, by the age of 23, 30% of Americans already have a criminal history. By a show of hands, how many of you have done something a little idiotic or maybe even illegal by the age of 23? That's what I thought. I just think it's a little young to be writing people off for the rest of their lives. Of people who go to prison, 76.6% of them return behind bars within 5 years. Nearly everybody. And so at Defy, a statistic that makes me really sad also is that 70% of children with incarcerated parents end up following in their parents' footsteps to prison. At Defy, we are in the business of breaking legacies of incarceration and poverty and violence and drug abuse. And we are not only equipping our men to become great entrepreneurs and employees, but also the fathers that our communities need. And we work with women and train them to become also the mothers that our communities need. Here are some of the ladies that we serve. We even serve incarcerated grannies while we're at it as well. We serve men, women, and youth. And this is our way of using Defy Ventures to make America great again. That's a little prison art for you right there. So I'm going to tell you a brief version of my story because Defy is my second chance. 14 years ago, when I was 26 and blonde, I was invited on my first prison visit ever to Texas, and I started prison entrepreneurship program, which ended up generating a recidivism rate of only 7% still to this day, when I recognized this overlooked potential and talent pool. And I lived for the moments when we would have our graduation, our cap and gown graduations. For half of our men in the program, it was their first time ever in a cap and gown. We would recruit their families to come, and in advance of the graduation, I had negotiated with the warden to get these little teddy bears approved, and the dads would decorate teddy bear t-shirts that would say, "My daddy loves me." And then at one point in the graduation ceremony, I would say to all the kids out there in the audience, if you see your daddy up on stage right now, run up to him, because he has a good gift to give you. And so the kids would run up, jump up in their dad's arms, and dad would say, "I love you and I will never leave you again." And this is what I live my life for. I do Defy to level the playing field, and also because I have a love of good fatherhood. And I wish I could tell you that I'm now at Defy Ventures and no longer at the Texas program, because I've always been an aggressive social entrepreneur, which is true. But that question I asked you at the beginning about what would it be like if you were only known for the worst thing you've done, that became my own story. I had been married for 9 years. I was divorced, and in the wake of my divorce, I made some decisions that I regret to this day. I ended up having some relationships with people who had been released from the Texas prison system. I crossed boundaries in a moment of weakness. It was a bad decision, and it wasn't illegal, but the Texas prison system ended up forcing my resignation in the news. I was so ashamed of myself because 8 years ago, I became known for a scandal instead of the great work that I had built, and I attempted to take my own life. It was people who loved me back to life and believed in me and wanted me to have a second chance that today make me so passionate about giving second chances to other people. Defy's my 2.0 and that second chance to give what I think is actually legitimate first chances to many people. So in terms of our what we do at Defy, we run a program inside prison called CEO of Your New Life. We serve men, women, and incarcerated youth as well. And with CEO of Your New Life, we teach entrepreneurship, employment readiness, character development, and reentry preparation. And this right here is a photo of some of our incarcerated kids. So if you think your teenagers are a handful, you should try some of mine. This is one of my favorite before pictures. And then after a little training with Defy here, we transform that hustle and generate amazing results. You can think of our business model as Khan Academy plus Techstars, but for people with criminal histories. It's a highly scalable model where we combine 100 DVD courses with peer groups and correspondence assignments, and then we bring in CEOs and executives to serve as judges in their Shark Tank competitions, and we have mentoring events, and we'd love for you to join. We build a community of support that is rooting for second chances for our people. We teach empathy and building of bonds, rebuilding of a lot of broken bonds, racial integration, and we help families to win through reunification. Our EITs consider going through Defy and graduating one of the biggest accomplishments of their lives because they average only an 8th or 9th grade education, but when they finish Defy, they earn from Baylor University an MBA program certificate, which is a big whoop for them. The way that we have accomplished all of this is because we have 3,500 CEOs and venture capitalists who come from some of the top companies in America who serve as our mentors and our judges and have our backs to help our EITs defy the odds. How's it working on the outside? 95% of our EITs, that stands for Entrepreneurs in Training, as we like to call them, are employed after their release. And our recidivism rate is only 3.2%. 95% of the people that we work with have committed violent crimes, so we're not exactly dealing with the lightweights of the prison system, yet we're still able to equip them to win. And I'm very proud of our incubator post-release, where we finance and incubate their companies. We've done so with 165 of their own businesses, which have been so successful that they've created 350 jobs for other graduates. Two quick examples of businesses. The guy in the middle of that first picture, his name is Koss. 5 years in prison, he gets out, starts Conbody, which is a prison-style fitness boot camp. He has 14,000 customers, and Defy helped him to raise $250,000 in funding. He's hired 12 people with criminal histories. Or the other guy, his name is Seth Sundberg. He makes these criminally delicious granola bars right here. So very innovative concepts of transforming your hustle. I like to think that we have nearly every nice left to right graph that makes investors happy. In terms of entrepreneurs in training served, we're serving 2,500 of them this year alone on a budget of only $6 million. Our cost per head to serve people, one person in prison, is only $500. It costs California taxpayers $70,202 to incarcerate one person for 1 year. Our people average nearly 20 years in the system. So even on the most conservative standards, the social ROI that we are producing is a 294 times return. We're really proud of that. Our vision is scalable throughout America. Currently, we serve in New York, Nebraska, and California primarily. We're launching Mississippi next week. Colorado's next, and we still have one more state that is up for grabs for the rest of this year. If you choose to come to prison with us, you will see that Defy is extremely high energy and intense, pretty fun and a little wacky and different, even a little hip sometimes. And the people that we serve, despite their labels for their backgrounds and their rap sheets, are huggable, very huggable, safe, and it will actually change your life if you come as well. And our training program ends up resulting in this right here, which was said by Timothy Johnson: "To see and feel the love from strangers changed my whole life. I haven't shed a tear in 35 years. I'm 47 now, and I cried like a baby at Defy's Shark Tank competition. In that moment, I knew I belonged to the human family, returning humanity to people who have been completely written off." I live for the days when I hear our EITs children say, I want to be just like my daddy. I'm going to take over the family business one day. And my vision is to put Defy out of business by ending mass incarceration, and I won't stop until we achieve that. I'll wrap on a 90-second video to give you a little flavor of what we do at Defy.
To me. You guys are always here for me. I'd like to thank you so much. I love you guys. I love you too.
8 years ago, I would have never imagined that I'd get this second chance. Thank you very much.